Yeah, so it was the Sweetie Belle episode, and after all, this episode was... What? Before you get any ideas...
No, we did not hate this episode at all. No, it was not even close to being a bad episode.
No. The thing is...
What we're implying here
This episode was different.
Yeah.
Really, really different.
Okay. Here's how I see it. If you had any doubts about the show being being like
mature.
Like if you had any, if you thought that this show was a kid's show, this episode, you can't think that anymore. You are not allowed to think that anymore.
Not after what we just watched. We were thinking it'd just be like, we decided it'd just be all fun. It'd be fun, heartwarming shenanigans with dream sequences, like Sleep as a Ponyville all over again, except with a special twist. Boy, this episode took a twist.
Yeah, it basically took the whole nightmares thing from Sleepless in Ponyville, and pretty much just they took it and ran with it. They just went completely ridiculous with what they were doing with the dream sequences in this episode. Alright, before we just continue mindless babbling, we're just gonna start off telling you a bit about the episode. It starts off with Sweetie Belle wanting Rarity to make costumes for the play, but she's also tied up with...
a play she made up. Yeah, she directed, wrote, and acted in with School and Apple.
Pretty much, yeah.
Original production,
like all themselves. And Sweetie Belle had pretty much the most to do with the play.
Yeah, we didn't see much of it, but it happened.
Yeah. So...
And she did take this was taking this pretty seriously.
Yeah.
Like, she actually had, like, a lot of, like, dedication and, like, commitment to it. Like, she really wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And of course, it's her trying to get her cutie mark, but still.
Well, I think that's kind of just, like, more motivation at this point. Like, just talking about cutie marks.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I complain about it, but in this episode it wasn't really so bad, since that wasn't at all the focus of what they were doing. At all.
No. But unfortunately, and of course, Rarity helps out with Sweetie Belle by providing some costumes of her own, while less than anything, because the ones they were shown were not the most impressive.
Yeah, but also at the time she was making costumes for Sapphire Shores. My initial thought, dang it, they're not bringing Coco back.
Well, they'll probably find some excuse. Yeah,
they'll probably find another episode to bring her back, I'm sure.
Well,
but I was kind of like, they didn't bring her back.
Well, at least they reused someone they already have in their inventory instead.
Yeah, Sapphire Shores isn't bad. I just didn't really find her particularly interesting in the episode she debuted in.
Kind of like
and I still don't really.
And I just thought she was just some flashy celebrity with an interesting design.
And well, she kind of is.
Yeah.
Not really much interesting about her. But then we get to see the play. Obviously, the writing and acting and stuff.
It's basically
it's
look, you're trying to do Shakespeare.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It literally is Sweetie Belle, Apple Bloom, and Scooby trying to do Shakespeare.
They're not doing anything familiar Shakespeare related. It's just them trying to emulate Shakespeare.
She just Sweetie Belle walks on stage, meshes every single word in the Shakespearean language together.
Well,
and then that's all they show.
Well, yeah.
So,
well, to be fair, it actually is grammatically correct, like Luna's, olden time speak. And
are you sure it is?
Yeah, I think it is. It's just what it actually means. It's actually redundant.
Yeah,
everything is actually redundant. We're not going to go into exact detail.
I think it's a grammatically correct sentence, but it doesn't mean anything.
It's just a giant fancy slew of redundancy.
Yeah. So then they walk off stage. Everyone was praising them as they were walking off. So they go backstage after the performance, and then they question, like, what did everyone like about the show? everyone talks about how awesome the costumes were, and nothing else really came to mind for them. And
this really
and weird thing about this scene is kind of how it shapes the scene. How it shapes pretty much
how we feel about the episode.
How we feel about the episode. The visuals are something that we know we like, and everything else we just don't know what to make of it.
Yeah, the weird thing is we had to rewatch this episode twice. It's not like just we were just watching it, like, we just get it like the first time. No, we had to rewatch this because
we're gonna get into this a bit later, but we went really deep into this episode, thinking it over. But anyway, so Sweetie Belle comes home, kind of mad that
Rarity's costumes outshine and like nothing else of Rarity's Sweetie Belle's mattered.
Yeah, so Sweetie Belle gets mad at Rarity, and then
references some, and it makes a good example, like some 5th birthday party that went south apparently.
Yeah, which we do see in the episode.
Surprisingly, I thought it'd just be some casual little incident. No, they actually do show it.
Yeah. So then after that we have Sweetie Belle trying to fall asleep, but she's still mad. So she can't really sleep.
So she's like, if Rarity is gonna keep outshining, and you know what, I'm just gonna sabotage her.
Yeah.
She does that.
So she gets the idea to ruin the headdress that Rarity made for Sapphire Shores, and then can sleep peacefully knowing that she got revenge.
Then she starts dreaming, and then she finds herself like basically like imagine yourself winning a war for like
for her play. And then it turns into obvious dream territory with a gigantic Rarity cloud that Luna protects her from.
Yeah, it's weird. When we saw the whole like statue melting in the Rarity cloud, I'm like, oh boy, here comes the fun shenanigans.
We were like,
here comes the fun shenanigans. You said that already.
Shut up. Yeah, it's basically like, yeah, we're getting into a dream. We know we're getting into a dream. So, all right.
And Luna shows up.
Yeah, and then one interesting thing that Luna says is along the lines of I too have a sister that continues to outshine me, and
that kind of went over our heads at first, but then we remembered it, and I'm like, wait a second, she actually said that?
Yeah, she still feels a bit of resentment for having her sister outshine her, like she did in the past before she went all Nightmare Moon and stuff. She still feels that resentment
to this day.
Yeah. So,
or she seems to be more accepting of it.
Yeah.
Or
she seems to have learned to cope with it at least.
Unless, it is going to crazy. Yeah, not so fancy.
That would go into crazy headcanon territory, like
which we try not to do, like when we're trying watching this show. Even though it's kind of fun to think about it. Basically, headcanons are just basically fun. People who take them too seriously tend to, go nuts.
But anyway,
that was just something interesting we just noticed.
On with the plot. Then after that, it switches to a view of the 5th birthday party, in which Sweetie Belle remembers it as
she perceived it.
How she saw it. She was getting all dressed up. Walks downstairs, waits to be noticed.
Yeah, she didn't do her lipstick right. Yeah, she's like 5. She's adorable. Oh yeah, we also get to see.
I didn't really think that that the lipstick thing was cute, but honestly, I think that's a good thing. If it was any cuter, we probably would have all died.
Yeah, and also we finally get to see a new stage of the pony life cycle.
Yeah, 5-year-old ponies.
Well, yeah, they're basically
it's a thing.
Yeah, and they're actually like. Yeah, I'm like, why am I getting Breezy's vibes out of this? They're like, not Breezy's. They're overly cutesy and tiny. Yeah, but that's just a little trivial thing, whatever. It was just interesting. So she gets dressed up. She goes downstairs. She tries to get everyone's attention, but apparently they're too distracted by some party favors Rarity's giving out to them.
Yeah, that she made herself. And so Sweetie Belle, sad, walks upstairs to cry.
That actually tugged my heartstrings a little bit. I'm like, I just want to hug her now.
I just want to cuddle her.
But no, that wasn't a point where I started realizing there's something up with this episode.
Yeah. Then Luna said. Then Luna shows her what actually happened, which is basically.
Sweetie Belle's taking too long, and Rarity was just trying.
Was trying to keep the ponies entertained. At which point, they get entertained, and then Sweetie Belle walks downstairs.
Yeah, she misses out the important details, obviously.
She gets that, walks back upstairs, but then we see Rarity trying to direct the attention back towards Sweetie Belle,
and they're like,
which is interesting. So
yeah, we're like, so this is the point that they're trying to get across, obviously. Yeah, hey, it's okay, keep going.
Yeah,
wrap it up a little.
So after that, they take a turn into showing
that night.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait a second, why did you...
So they kind of go the Christmas Carol route here in showing past, present, and future.
It didn't become very obvious until they actually show...
until they show the future, which we're going to get to later. But
yeah, the present thing is just basically Rarity, being very worried about, trying to impress Sapphire Shores with her headdress and stuff.
Yeah.
And she goes off to sleep. Then...
It shows that
some fancy
Rarity unknowingly went to go see Sapphire Shores, and then it shows, and then it pretty much goes into incredibly surreal imagery territory.
Yeah, there's basically a couple bits where basically Luna's walking across a giant field of stars. We're joking, oh, it's Magical Mystery Carol over again.
Yeah, and then...
But then it goes into some underwater thing, and which is like, oh, great, don't do anything sea pony related.
Yeah, and then they don't. Then they show the whole Rarity thing I mentioned before. And then they go into some kind of...
They actually go negative. They actually invert the colors of what we're seeing. They're like, whoa, that was interesting.
Yeah.
They weren't kidding. People weren't kidding when they said, the animation was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the most visually impressive episodes of the show, if not the most visually impressive, which is what we were saying before with the whole the visuals. The visuals are really the most solid point of the episode. You know that they're great, but
yeah, this episode definitely exploits them.
But the ambiguity comes after the part where it goes negative.
Yeah. Honestly, the negative should have been the last clue. Look, there's something up with this episode, and you're not getting it.
Yeah. Then they go into showing a possible future of what would happen to Rarity if the whole thing fell apart.
All right.
She brings the costume to Sapphire Shores. The headdress falls apart with the stitch that Sweetie Belle pulled out of it.
Sapphire Shores apparently fires Rarity and doesn't take her seriously anymore.
Yeah. And then
Rarity goes through a midlife crisis. She basically descends into madness.
Yeah. It's like she just goes.
And now Sapphire Shores just sees her as nothing but a joke. Heck, she can, in one concert thing, she mentions tell you this one story of how one of my former costume designers completely messed up.
Yeah. And then it shows Rarity just completely just losing it.
Oh, and when Sweetie Belle's watching this happen, she's
she
tries to
she's begging it to stop.
She's just trying to move, and then then I started to notice something really weird. Her hooves are glued to her floor. They're stretching they're some sort of glue thing. I'm like, oh wait, what? That's a little weird.
Yeah, and then we have the whole
we just see everything Rarity's life is basically ruined now. She's basically really lost it, and there's nowhere to go. And the imagery is very dark and very unsettling, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Sweetie Belle is begging for the thing to stop, but it doesn't stop until it does.
Yeah. Sweetie Belle's constantly just saying throughout the last part of it, just wake me up, Luna, wake me up, and it's just. And that's the point where it's if you were on the fence about thinking that this is no longer a kid's show, this moment is where you have to stop thinking that it's a kid show. This is not a kid show. You have no reason to think that anymore.
Alright.
That part of the episode pretty much broke us.
Yes. It did.
It's like, well, the reason why we're getting this out so late is because, well, we had friends over and we watched the episode with our friends. One is a brony and one is
neutral to the show. But has a little sister who obviously likes watching the show.
Yeah. He saw the episode, the whole Christmas Carol thing. Our brony friend, he thought the episode was okay and liked the visuals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We
didn't start thinking about it.
We didn't really think about it until
our friends left.
Until we dropped our friends off at their houses, and then
we got home.
On the ride back home,
we just started talking about the episode,
and we realized, like,
this episode is different.
Yeah.
You know why we're wearing the shirts? You know, this is how we feel right now.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a joke and stuff, but that's actually how we felt. We feel. Ugh.
Well, not so much anymore. We've calmed down. You should have seen us probably about an hour ago.
Yeah, we were going like conspiracy nutcase, like crazy thing about the episode, and like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't take this seriously, but we're still trying to figure out like, what the heck.
So we literally had to rewatch the episode, and then we kind of realized that there's really nothing that we should really think so deep about.
But it's just what the episode did leave an impact on us.
Yeah, it was definitely a different step.
You know who wrote this episode? Dave Polsky.
Dave Polsky, who, alright, I'm going to use this episode as an example. Rarity Takes Me in Manhattan. And I think I said before, it was one of the most natural feeling episodes of the entire show.
Yeah, definitely.
This episode is probably the opposite of that. It is the most supernatural of the episodes.
You know, basically what happened in this episode? I think it probably entered the uncanny valley. Like, you know something is up with this episode, but you just don't know what exactly is wrong.
And it's kind of like, to use another episode as an example, but not so much in quality, mind you, but just in questioning an episode and just what it is about it. Probably Daring Don't. In that episode, it was more the question, why? Why did they introduce this canon into the show?
We didn't do a Daring Do review, did we?
Well, I did a written review of it.
Yeah, how we felt about the episode is...
I literally had to take a whole week to understand what that was about. This one...
It was a reverse of what I felt about the episode. Sure, that's going to be interesting to have some more Daring Do shenanigans, but what they do with it, like, after the review...
It's like when you get right down to it, Daring Don't is pretty much like, why did they get rid of the story within a story thing and just turn it into actual nonfiction? That's
what got us, you know, when we first watched it, and like, especially halfway through the episode. Yeah, we were in here. It was amusing to watch, but yeah, we had a more negative approach to it. Somewhat.
Yeah. This episode has nothing negative about it. Well, for us at least.
Well, we don't
hate it at all.
No.
It's hard to gauge this by quality. It's more of how you gauge it by interpretation.
Yeah, with basically how
it's not so much. It's not so much concrete. It's more surreal.
Well, yeah, it's dreaming, and this episode pretty much exploited the fact that it's, you know, dream sequences just completely screw your mind.
Yeah. Should we just finish up what the episode's about, since this is going on way too long?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I know we're like, yeah, we spend a good time rambling about this, but this is time to ramble.
This is literally just
the time to ramble.
Yeah. So, anyway, moving on.
She wakes up, thank God.
Yeah.
They doing some jokes.
Yeah, I think these are probably the best strategically placed jokes. Like,
because we definitely needed him to calm us down.
yeah, it's just we saw all that. We're just in shock, and we need something to calm us down. They give us a few jokes, and they're pretty humorous jokes.
Yeah, and they helped out.
So then we have a whole scene with the Cutie Crusaders trying to
break in and
break into the studio or whatever.
And get the dresses
where Sapphire Shores and Rarity are.
So
that they can fix so that they can get the headdress fixed. And yeah, they succeed in getting the headdress away from them before they can figure out what's wrong with it.
Yeah, Sweet Belle has a one final one with Luna, and then basically she finally goes up to Rarity with the headdress and pretty much breaks the news.
Which is all fixed at that point. So
but right, Luna sounded a little weird. You know, it sounded a little weird.
Yeah. At that part, like when they met up again.
Yeah, it's kind of trivial. Well,
it's a minor complaint.
Yeah,
if it can even be.
I think it is more like Tabitha was trying to differentiate her Luna voice to her Rarity, but she went a little too far, and it made it sound a little weird. But whatever, it still leaves our concerns.
Yeah,
it's just something we just noticed. Another interesting observation.
But anyway, they have a little bit of a moment where they're just explaining everything.
They make amends and
then they show off the headdress to Sapphire Shores, who really likes it and likes the little addition that Sweetie Belle made with dolphins, which is actually kind of hinted at in Sweetie Belle's dream,
and I'm
where she's swimming through space with dolphins, and at one point
during the freaky sequence with in the background.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure it actually is. You know, you're arguing about this like whether it was their cutie mark or something. I think it is.
I'm not sure, and I'm just too broken to look it up right now.
Yeah.
But plus we're doing this review. Yeah, so everything is pretty much fixed, I guess.
Yeah, so it ends on a thankfully positive and I heart moment with them hugging each other.
Yeah. Having
made amends, forgiving each other.
And we're left to think about what the heck we just watched. Definitely the most ambitious episode of the series.
Well, the most one we've seen, like...
Well, so far. In Season 4, I would say.
Yeah.
Magical Mysteries Cure is still more ambitious in the fact that this can go horribly wrong. And it does. And well, that's up to debate. But this episode is ambiguous not because of what it was attempting to do, more ambitious on what it did.
That's just puppy sparking.
Yeah, but so if I were to rate this, I would.
Does this episode really need a rating?
Well, I have to rate it. I've rated every single episode so far.
I don't think I can give this an actual rating.
It's hard to give this a rating just because of how you can't rate this by quality. It's just...
Is it a must-watch, if anything?
It's definitely something that you should watch.
Yeah, this is going to be a special recommendation. A must-watch. Like, you gotta see this in order to try to figure out what this is.
You have to see it to freaking believe it. It's just... The enjoyment factor... It's definitely an enjoyable episode.
Even with all the surrealness to it.
If you can get past the fact that they are doing this in a quote unquote kids show, just completely being surreal like this, if you can get past that fact, then this is actually a pretty good episode with very few problems in it. And very minuscule problems. So, but is this episode? How devoted is one to this episode? This definitely brought out a huge devotion in both of us.
Mm-hmm. We enjoyed it, but you know, we're still trying to figure it out.
We enjoyed it, but we're more so devoted to the fact that we just can't we just can't grasp the concept of this. It's just
It's
it's some kind of chaotic genius, is how I'm gonna describe it.
It's like something out of Edgar Allan Poe. Or all those famous, like...
Edgar Allan Poe meets Shakespeare meets...
Friendship is magic.
Yeah.
That's what this episode was.
Basically.
Well, then again, the episode kind of is a reference to Poe from the Belle Toils.
For whom the bell tolls, or...
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the episode's... which is part of the episode's name, for whom the Sweetie Belle toils.
Yeah.
And we definitely saw the Sweetie Belle, and we saw for whom she was toiling. Very, yeah, that definitely answered that question.
Belsky, was this some sort of like gamut of yours? Were you trying to do something different from your usual style?
Because you definitely freaking succeeded.
You really
You mad,
messed with us.
You mad genius. Dave Polsky, you mad genius.
And this is probably gonna be like just one of his like very few miracle moments.
There's nothing that really I could have seen gone wrong with it. It does a lot of things right. Like I said, the visuals are really good, and it just completely succeeds in completely confusing the heck out of us, which isn't bad. It confused us in a good way. And if you sat through all of this, hopefully you understand that this episode is not to be taken lightly at all.
Yeah, this is why we went to more depth talking about it, because we made the mistake of taking it too lightly, and we paid for it.
Seeing as this is the longest review that we've ever made, or, well, just me, just in this review kind of thing, this is the longest we've ever spoke in length about anything.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna...
Hopefully this won't happen again.
No. I don't know if I want to see this again. It broke me.
In a good way.
In a very good way. I'm glad that the show took a step like this. It was definitely ambitious, and they definitely succeeded in what they were doing.
And of course, maybe I don't think younger viewers are gonna be disturbed, but it did something to us.
It might have flown over the heads of little kids, but
maybe
if you think about it deeply, like we did, it's just... I'm actually going to give this a 9.5 out of 10.
Why the heck not? Same.
Dave Polsky, you freaking genius. You mad genius. Just how?
Of all the writers, it was him.
Who wrote just this season one of the most natural feeling episodes, went on to write one of the most supernatural feeling episode. A writer with that kind of capability deserves to be recognized.
Either he got lucky or he succeeded.
Well, if he got lucky, then he still succeeded, but... I don't know what he was trying to do, but whatever it was, he sure as heck did it.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't usually think much about it, but the fact he wrote this episode...
He's not... Alright, I'm gonna say he's not my favorite writer. He's written some meh episodes in the past. Like...
that's not bad. Yeah,
Well, I think he has written some pretty meh episodes in the past. Nothing's coming to mind right now since this episode's completely broken me, but...
Hopefully next week's episode will not have the same effect.
I'm sure it won't.
If it happens...
It's gonna... It's focusing on the Flim Flam brothers. Well, I think the episode order is confusing to me, but...
Yeah, they're airing the episodes out of production order now.
Yeah, but I think it's the Flim Flam episode next.
I think it is.
So I'm looking forward to that one. I've been looking forward to it. Plus, I finished a fanfic about them. Literally a week later, they got confirmed for an episode, which means that I have the power to bring characters back through my fanfics. No. I must write my Coco fanfic. Someone give me ideas.
Well, let's just...
And no shipping fics, please.
Yeah, the whole you and Coco thing, I think the whole Flim Flam being confirmed was just sheer luck.
It is a coincidence. I know it's a coincidence.
However, if you do write a fic about Coco and an episode about her returning does happen, then you have a power.
Yes. I have some unforeseen power. But... This episode.
That was an episode.
Definitely a recommend. It has total rewatchability.
This is not for the
if you don't see anything objectively up with this episode, then okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I think there's more things wrong with us at this point.
Yeah, I don't want to take the show too serious, even though I enjoy it so much.
I usually joke about people taking the show too seriously. Now I know what it's like to take the show seriously. This has gone on way too long.
Yeah.
So,
as if I were a jerk, I would say we're probably taking this way too seriously. Help me, please.
Today's been a weird day.
Yeah.
Apart from the whole Jan being C&D'd, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I don't want to bother with that.
Yeah, we're not gonna rant about that. We're just gonna.
No, we'll just see how things turn out. At least, I've seen things happen before.
2014 has been a heck of a joyride so far.
Yeah. Well, now there's two mysteries I'm trying to figure out. This episode and what happened at the Flight 370. I think the sad thing is, I think this episode is easier to find out than a missing plane. Or would it be the other way around?
I'm not even sure. Too many things to think about. Hopefully someone out there is as broken about this episode as we are.
Or maybe we're just an anomaly.
Maybe it's just us.
Yeah. I'm just gonna see what other people.
I haven't heard any opinions on the episode. Just little things that people pointed out about the episode that people talk about, but they don't bring up the episode as a whole. I was talking about the episode as a whole, like in the chat, in the MLP Wiki chat, and people are like. That they weren't even talking about it. They were just acknowledging that they watched the episode. They found it, well, they didn't really say anything. It's just now I might have missed them talking about it, but I was there for about like a half an hour, and then I didn't see them saying anything about the episode.
Yeah,
I mean I know that's the rules, but God, this is.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good weekend now. We just need to relax.
Hopefully you can find some form of opinion in there.
Well, this episode did a number of me. I just want to stop now.
All right. I don't know how to wrap this up, so I'm ending it prematurely. If you're looking for some kind of outro, too bad. And
beware this episode.
Not beware, but embrace the chaos.